Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. I have another 2010 Ford Mustang with the same dreaded issues of the O2 sensors, purge valve, EGR, etc. This time it's coming from, I think, Texas. Yeah, Texas. Tommy, this is your computer, and as I normally do, I have prepared a folder for the customer. I'm going to show you the connections and the wiring and everything. Let me just briefly and shortly show you what I have here. So, and this is a very good test you can use in the vehicle, guys. This is a very easy test to do to know if the problem is in your computer or if it's in the vehicle. So all you need to do is disconnect the battery first, right? Because we want to unplug two connectors on the computer, which are the first connector and the last connector. You will see that this computer has a big connector and then two small ones. This is connector C175E. This one is C175B, and this is C175D. So I'm just going to use the last letter, EBT, right? So you're going to disconnect E and T and leave V connected, and you're going to use test lights. So this is what I'm using in here. So these are 195 bulbs. If you're here on the video, what I'm going to show you is the quick and easy tests and the tools that you need to do that. So 195 volts with the sockets. You're going to connect one side of that test light to the computer, and the other side you're going to need to connect it to battery power. Either ignition, if you can find a wire with ignition. If not, battery power should be okay. It's better if you find an ignition source. So go over to probably like the fuse box in the engine bay and find one that fits power when you turn the ignition on. Like that, it will be the same way as it's done in the car. Like that, you will get the correct results. All right, so we have, as you see, 5 test lights, and I have the purge valve because I'm going to do the test on everything. So you can also use another test light on the purge valve. I'm using the test, the purge valve because I have it, but you can add a 6th purge valve, or sorry, test light. So the computer is going to control the ground on those circuits. So you need to provide power on the other side of the test light, right? So I have 2 test lights connected into the upstream O2s on connector E, pin 69 and pin 70. And then the purge valve is in this same connector on pin 6. Again, you see that wire going in here, and the other wire from the purge valve is a red wire that goes over to the battery, or ignition, sorry. The other O2 sensors are in connector T, pin 47 and 48. So you need to get terminals to make that. You can buy an assortment of terminals and get those. There is actually, and I can give you an idea, which is probably the fastest way. Let me show you that 1 second. All right, guys, this is a terminal test kit. You can get, these are, probably from $80 to $130, and you're just like, well, this is becoming expensive. I'm like, guys, believe me, it's going to be very expensive if you don't do this. Because I'm going to tell you, there is shops that and customers that have spent $2,000-$3,000 trying to correct the situation when it was a computer. So you spent all that money on components that were good, just trying to see if you can correct the situation. So yeah, this is important. You can get that, and that is easy because you can just connect the terminals they have in there with a 4mm banana adapter and use that into the test light. Or you can get the terminals that are in the computer, and I can probably try to help you get those. I don't have them in, let me just see if I can get those. All right, for the O2 sensor heaters, you're going to need a spade connector. Let me just see, female, 1.5mm, 2mm, it will work. Remember, it's all you need is just to make sure it fits in there. The 1.5 works really well. That is for the O2 sensor heaters because those are thicker wires. For the evap purge valve, you're gonna need a spade terminal, but it's going to be 0.75mm, and that's it. The other connectors, let me just see, and another one like that for the air conditioner. So 2 of the 0.75, and then 4 for the 1.5 to 2 millimeters. Either one of those will work, and then you can add those to your tests, right? To your test lights. In the other side of the power, you can either run an alligator clip and put that into again the relay ignition portion side. Make sure that you use it on the terminal 87. Don't use it onto the ignition control side. You want to make sure that you are after terminal 87. Let me just show you what I'm talking about so I'll give you the correct information. Let me just put a relay circuit in here. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get something that we can use, and yeah, this one is probably the best one. Give me just 1 second, guys. I'm trying to prepare good information for you. So let me see. Tom Collins. Yeah, I'm in Tom. All right, guys. So this is a relay circuit. So what we have in here is the control side of this relay are in terminals 85 and 86. You see, if we go over to the relay side, let's forget 1 second for on the right side, let's look into the relay itself. We have 85 and 86, that's the control side. The load side is 30 and 87. So 30 will be always constant battery power. 85 is usually an ignition or a power. Sometimes the manufacturer jumps these two wires, so that will be a constant battery power. So and that will probably come from the ignition or something, because otherwise that will be always on, right? Or waiting for the computer to control those on. Either way will work. What we're looking to use is terminal 87. Why? Because that's the switch portion, not the control side, right? So, and we don't want terminal 30 because that might be always on. But we're waiting for this switch to close to get power in there. So if you turn the ignition on and this relay closes and sends power to this terminal 87, and you can use it for the test. It's going to, put a little extra load in there, but it's just test light, so it's not going to damage anything. But you want to be connected to terminal 87, right? Why? Because we want to make sure that it's only on when the ignition is on. All right. Again, I'm trying to get you set up for these tests properly. All right, so we have and understand what we're doing. Let's do this. Computer is already repaired, Tommy. I was able to duplicate your concerns, and let me get something I see here. I don't like it's like a debris in the computer here. Yes, probably from blowing the air. But yeah, so these concerns, his concerns, because I've been going around a little bit, so let me go over to the folder and let's read Tommy's concerns. So it says no AC relay, no push valve, bend or EGR, and O2 sensors. He probably forgot to put the whole rest. This is TDC Diesel in Texas, Tommy. I have take a picture of the computer and the unique numbers on this computer. The tier tag is UUH1. Family of the computer is a PCM 170F. And I also took a picture doing the repair. This is just for my records and the customer when I had it open and on doing the test, doing the repairs. I also took a picture of the fault codes, which are, I think maybe here. Yes, a little far away, but we have the P0135, P0141, P0161. Yeah, all the auto sensor heaters faults. Yeah, this was a little blurry. I wanted to pick up the firewall reference, but it got a little blurry here. Not sure how much you can see. I think you can see it in there. It says auto sensor heater 11, 21, 22, and 12. So all the auto sensor heaters circuit not resistance, circuit. All right, so let's do the test, guys. Let's go back in here. Let me put the scanner on the view and the meter. The reason I put that meter in there is because I want you to see when I turn the ignition on and off. You're going to see the test lights and everything coming on, but we want to see that. See, this computer is phased. What you want to expect on a good working computer is when you turn the ignition on, after you disconnect this, right, and you turn the ignition on, those lights should flicker one time, really quick. So let's do that first. I'm going to put the battery on both tools in here because I am providing the power for those circuits in here, and I'm powering up the computer with this other box that I have on the other side. So battery and ignition in 1, 2, 3. All right, so we saw the 4 O2 sensor heaters flashing. Why is the computer doing that? Because this is an emission component. It's emission, so it has to be testing it all the time. And O2 sensors are one of the main players on emissions. All right, so let's connect to the scanner. This is a 2010, so it should be fairly quick to connect to it. Let's do an automatic ID. And let me see the VIN number for Tommy. Should end in 134747. 134747. Takes a little longer because it's trying to talk to all the modules that are not connected in the vehicle. And either way, Snap-on is a very slow scanner. And the reason I use it is because it's one of the strongest in domestic vehicles, but my go-to tool is most of the times, or 99% of the time, the top-down Phoenix. Very strong tool. All right, we got the 134747 up in the screen, and that is a 2010 Ford Mustang 4.0 V6. All right, so we're going to enter here. We're going to go into the engine, and we're going to do codes menu. What we want to do now is key on engine off cell test. When you do this test and you have this all unplugged, right, you cannot get rid of those fault codes. If we do this test and you get a steal the P0135 or P0155 or anything that says heater circuit, disconnect the computer, wrap it up, send it to Mike Salazar. Mike Salazar Diagnostics will fix it for you. But if you do this test and now you get an O2 sensor resistance, like a P059, a P0059 or P039, I forgot the numbers, it's somewhere there, then the problem is not in the computer. The problem is in the vehicle. And now you need to check the wiring. You need to replace O2 sensor. You need to do more tests. And that's the game. That's part of what we're doing in here. But at least if you do this and it still fails, that's it. Send the computer. You're good. You're in good shape. All right, so let's do the test. This computer is fully repaired. I have not tested, so let's see what the result is. What you're going to see now that I do the cell test is not just a one-time flicker. You're going to see all the lights flicker one time, and then they will come on, and they will flicker, flicker, flicker. They go off, and then you will see the AC, and then the purge valve will come on, which I can audible hear it, and then you will not be able to hear that. But if any of these fails, we will get a P0443 or P0446 or something like that that will let us know if we have a problem on any of the circuits. All right, let's do the test. We saw that one time. All right, excellent. And the valve, excellent. So that's like music to my ears. All right, look right there, the focus, guy. P0053, P0059. But what is that says in there? O2 sensor heater resistant bank 1, O2 sensor resistance heater bank 2 sensor 1. Those are resistance. Why is the computer complaining about the resistance? Well, because we're not using an O2 sensor. We're using a test light. But the circuit, the 135 and the 155 are gone. Why? Because the circuit is now intact. So I'm killing two birds with one stone in here. Why? Because I am knowing that my repairs are good and also checking the logic on the computer. The computer logic is good. If I do this test and I don't get any fault codes, the logic in the computer is compromised. So this might be a not repairable computer. And I do this test prior to, because I'm expecting to see the results on the computer. If I get this let's say prior to the repairs, and I connect all this and I get the P0155 and P0135, well, the computer needs to be repaired. I always do the test myself, no matter if you do it in the vehicle, because I want to make sure that I can correct the situation. All right, so let's see if we have any other codes as far as per mile, which I think we should get the P0446. That is the bend control. You see, bend, not the purge. This is the EVAP bend, which is usually no problem. Either way, I replace all those. I don't just repair the one concern. I correct the concern first, and then I replace all capacitors, diodes, voltage regulators, etc. Injector drivers, coil drivers, all that is going new, so I can give you a 1-year warranty on these computers. All right, Tommy, this is 100%. Your computer is now fully repaired. I hope that you guys like the content. I'm trying to make these videos as short as possible to get you good information without taking too much of your time away. But this is a very valid test. What I'm showing you in here, it will save you in any shop hours and hours of testing to find out if the problem is in the computer or not. So this will reduce that big fee of diagnostics to just find out if the problem is in the computer. If it's not, then you can still, or you will need to still do more tests. Why? Because the problem is either in the auto sensors or into the wiring. You can do this same test if this passes on the car, right? Like with these two connectors unplugged. What you can do to know if your problem is in the wiring or in the sensor is plug the sensors, the two connectors back into the computer and go to the auto sensors, unplug the auto sensors and find a wire for the heater, which I can show you before I go away. These are the wiring for these computers. So you can see the color and everything will match. Let me take the scanner out of your view. And this is the wire diagram. So these will be in here. We have the auto sensor 1, 2, so bank 1, sensor 2, bank 2, sensor 2, bank 1, sensor 1, and bank 2, sensor 1. It tells you which is the heater, which in this case is pin 70. So you want to make sure that you unplug the sensor and you go into the pin 1 of the auto sensor and you connect the test light. So you can do the test. So you're going to remove the sensors, all the auto sensors, right? And you're going to connect the test lights and do the test again. If you do the test again and you still get the P01, well, 1 second. If you get the P0, what was it we are getting right now? P0053 and P0059, well, what is the problem? The auto sensor heaters. The circuit is intact. You see what I mean? So you will need to do a second test at the sensors. If you do it there and you get the P0135 and the P0155, well, the auto sensor will not, I don't care how many sensors you put in there. Why? Because it has to give you the P0053 over the P0059 to tell you that the wiring is fine. If it gives you the P0155 and the 135, it's telling you that the auto sensors are good. The wiring is open somewhere. You see what I mean? The circuit is open, and that's what the computer is complaining. But the computer is not the problem. The sensor is not the problem. Your problem is in the wiring. You see, I'm trying to give you as much as tools as I can. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.